All right, so this is just going to be a quick numbers video. You might recall back in the beginning part of the year, I said this about my running.
I decided this year I want to have a year long goal of trying to get 2,000 total miles.
So here we are on July 1st, which is day 182 of the year. We've got 183 days left, so we are halfway through the year. And so, in order to be on track to reach 2,000 miles, it would mean that as of today, I need to be roughly at 1,000. So let's take a look at some numbers. All right, so what are we looking at here? Well, what we're looking at here is a program that I use to track all of my running mileage. It's a program called Running Ahead. It's a very sort of old school, antiquated style interface, written by like an old grad student or something, but I like it because it's very simple. Looking at the numbers as of today, if you come over here, you can see that I am currently at 1,160.1 activity miles. Now, I'm very specific and deliberate in why I say activity miles. What I log for my mileage is any running miles. So anytime I go out for a run, whether it's a daily run, a long run, a race, whatever I'm doing that involves running, that is logged. But what I also log are what I consider to be sort of high intensity, deliberate walking miles. And so what this means is if I am going out to, say, hike a mountain, or climb something deliberately as a physical activity, as a way to sort of work out, I count that as sort of running activity miles. But if I'm going out to, say, walk my dog, that does not count, or sort of any daily regular miles. Those don't count. And most of my miles, 98% of them are running. That 2% that's sort of like fast-paced hiking is because of things like going out to hike up Woody Mountain or hike up Kendrick Peak or something. Looking down here, 1,160 miles, that means I'm 160 miles ahead of a constant pace. I've done the math. What that equates to is that I have to average about 4.5 miles per day now for the rest of the year. It comes out to be about 32 miles a week, which is a really nice number. I like that number. It's much more chill than 40 miles per week. I've been averaging about 40 to 50 miles per week. As you can see here, my weeks have been a little bit unpredictable as of late, because of races and rest and recovery. So you can see the week of May 26th, I ran 95 miles because I did my Canyon to Crest adventure. But then the next week, I only ran 11 miles. A week after that, I ran 42 and then 66 because I ran the San Juan Solstice. But then last week, I only ran 16.8. It's been a little up and down, but if you look back in the early part of the year, I was really crushing the miles. So in March, I did almost 230 miles in the month of March. April, also 219. May, 227. So those 3 months, I just banged out high mileage. And then this has been my June was my first month where I actually had kind of low mileage, only 142. So I like this program because if you see here, I can go over to reports and I can create any sort of graph I want. So I can say, show me all of my years for the past 15 years. I've been using this program since 2008, by the way. So from 2011 to present, if I select running, you can see this is my mileage. So ignore the different colors for a moment, and you can see back in 2011, I hit 2,000 exactly, and then 2012 and 13, I actually got over 2,500 miles. But then I was pretty consistent where I was hitting about 1,800 miles. There was the one year in 2018 where I managed to go above 2,000, but then for the last 7 years, I have not been over 2,000 miles, which is why I really wanted to try and hit 2,000 miles again this year. I feel like it's a good goal to try and get back to those good numbers again. And what the colors represent are the different types of runs. So green is what I consider sort of a daily average easy run. Red are races. Blue are long runs. And then The sort of yellow color, that's those intentional hikes that I was talking about. So if I go to hike a 14er in Colorado, I count that as an intentional hike. But as you can see, most of my miles are sort of green, red, and blue. What I can then do is if I want to go back and I want to look at a specific type of workout per year, like say just my easy runs, I can see this is a record for the last 15 years of all my easy runs. And this year, I'm already at 500 miles of easy runs, which at this pace, if I continue along, I might break my all-time record on sort of daily runs. That's how good of a year I'm having so far. So this is great. This is good news. This means I'm doing what I wanted to do. I can also look at, say, long runs. In case you're curious what constitutes a long run, my metric for that is any run I do that's over 12 miles. So if it's 12 miles or greater, I consider it a long run. If it's under 12 miles, I just consider it sort of a daily run. 2011 was a really big long run year because that was the year that I focused almost entirely on road marathons. And so I was doing a lot of road miles, whereas I shifted to trails after that. That's the gist of it. I'm in great shape. The math works out again to be about 32 miles a week for the rest of the year. I have to do 840 more miles to break 2,000, which I think is in reach. I do have a few more races on the calendar for the year. I'm going to be running my annual Virginia race in November, but I'm also thinking about potentially doing a 100-miler in September here in town called the Stagecoach Race. But as you can see, like this 6 month history down here, which takes me back to February, you can really see those 3 months where I was very aggressive in my daily miles. I went, I think, an entire like 40 or 50 days without a single day off. So I ran every day about 6 miles a day, and then with the long runs every weekend. And then I had these larger efforts that I put in here, a couple of races sprinkled in. More recently, you see there's a few days where I logged some yellow runs. Those were I hiked up Kendrick Peak this last weekend, and I've done a couple other sort of hike-based adventures. So anyway, that's the gist of it. It's a lot of fun to come in here and play around with my numbers and to look back through my history, going back almost 20 years now. And you can see, at least according to this log, my lifetime mileage is almost 34,000 now. Hoping to get up to 50,000 before my body completely falls apart. So this is cool. I've run more than the distance around the circumference of the Earth in my days of running. Hope you enjoyed this little deep dive into some of my running numbers, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.